Okay, hopefully you can all see the first slide with the NERC heading and what we're about to communicate, and then me at the bottom. So my role in the Neighbourhood Watch Association is chairman for the county, and I'm what's known as a multi-scheme administrator, so I can actually manage membership of Neighbourhood Watch across the county. And the reason we're doing it for Neighbourhood Watch is that uses the email messaging system that the police and police fire and crime commissioner predominantly use to send out community information. So what I'm going to run through in the next few minutes is based on the police system called Northamptonshire Talking, but it's overall it's a messaging system labelled Neighbourhood Alert. Some of you may recall that, well, up to I think 30 years ago, the police used to use a telephone system for ringing round and giving daily or weekly updates. Now it's evolved into this slightly more sophisticated email system. If you've got any questions as we go through, then by all means raise it, whether you put your hand up or something. If Joe can perhaps oversee that, because while I'm doing the screen I may not see it, but otherwise speak up and we'll see if there's any queries that we can answer as we go through. So Northamptonshire Talking, as we say, is originally came out as Neighbourhood Alert, and messages are still under that main heading. It's free, so there's the first plus to it, and it's a service predominantly from the police, fire and crime commissioner, and Neighbourhood Watch, but there are other parties that can subscribe to it and send out information. And as it says, it's predominantly on policing matters, but certainly from Neighbourhood Watch, it'd be on a broader community issue.
Is that via email or via text?
It's predominantly via email, although there is a facility for text messaging. I think one of the reasons why that's not used particularly well is that there's a nominal cost to that in the first instance. And if people aren't signed up for it, then you won't get it. But SMS is part of the system. And the alert messages can be actioned by the provider so that they can be further circulated. They could go onto a Facebook page or whatever. And you'll probably see some of that as I sort of progress with the presentation. But it is predominantly, to answer the point, you sign up for this through an email system, so you have to be on the internet with an email address. So who provides it? Well, predominantly, as I say, it's the police, fire and crime commissioner, the fire service of that, Neighbourhood Watch, but here's a national body, Action Fraud. So from a crime prevention advisory point of view, you can see there are other providers for that. And you can see a list there, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail some of these, but that's the sort of heading that these messages have. And you can probably just see there that there is a grading system, 3, 2, 1. There's one there, which I'll probably illustrate in a minute, a grade 1, 2 and 3. And you can actually qualify which level you want to receive. If you said that you only wanted to receive level 1 messages, then out of those 4, you'd only get that 1 message. But obviously you'd be missing out on some of the others. So the majority you link down as the basic, and then you get everything. So what I'm going to try and cover, and this is predominantly from the police website, Northamptonshire Talking, but it corresponds to Neighbourhood Watch, and at the end I'll go into the Neighbourhood Watch site so you can see that both are complementary as to why you should sign up, the process, sort of messages you're going to receive. There is a login procedure, as there is with any other assessment there, and then, as I say, I'll give a few slides about Neighbourhood Watch and the membership aspect to that. So why should you sign up? Well, you can appreciate predominantly from a policing point of view, it's a matter of the police and the communities working together, particularly on crime and antisocial behaviour. So the reason for signing up is that you're then able to receive, and you can reply and provide feedback to the messages that you receive. So those messages, as it says there, could be about a particular crime, witness appeals, the general policing activity. So when the beat bus is going to be there, what other community actions are going on, and any particular issues that, that might arise from that. And if you're interested in your local policing team, you know, they may have public events, or you may have public events you want them to come to. So again, the system can be used to publicise that. Emphasise it's free. Well, quick and simple. It's a straightforward email system. So if you're used to receiving emails on your phone or on your computer or laptop or thing, then it's straightforward. You can have fairly detailed control of what you receive and who you receive it from. It can get a little bit complicated, but I'll cover the basis of that.
If this is what we receive when we Neighbourhood Watch members, I assume then, because I've never done anything on the settings, that I get them all anyhow.
You're registered on the system then, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been registered for quite some time. Yeah.
As a member of a Neighbourhood Watch group? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I might touch on a few points, but feel free to query if you do, because I know one of the queries is about, you know, the number of messages they receive and what topics, but you can manage it and control it to quite a detailed level. As it says, you can change your preferences and stop receiving if you want to. So what sort of messages? Well, I say the police are sort of talking about farmer rural. So you could have that sort of particular group listed. Maybe there's a business aspect to it. So there's a variety of things there that that you can identify. Or, as you say, Keith, just register and leave all the settings as they are, and then you'll receive whatever message is sent out. You can determine after a while whether that's what you want to receive or not. And the police and the Police Fire Commission are the two primary subscribers. Thirdly, Neighbourhood Watch, and then, as you saw, you will get, if you're subscribed to it, the national fraud aspect as well. The police emphasise that, of course, this is a messaging system to give you information, and it's not for reporting incidents. So you would rely upon the 101 or the 39 system, or there is an online reporting form for suspicious incidents or something else. So what sort of messages? Well, as it's illustrated there, and so this is taken from the police website, a variety of subjects. And I know that one there is actually a picture of a meeting over at Wellingborough when we were looking at crime prevention on one of the estates there. There's an example of officers out on with their beat bus, and then you'll see that there'll be surveys put out by the police as to what are your local priorities. So it isn't just giving you crime information, it's seeking feedback from you, and as we say down there, from Neighbourhood Watch. So here's an example then of if this link works. Now this is a recent message. You may have seen it in the papers. It's marked up as a as a top priority, urgent information appeal. And this is relating to the woman's body that was found in the River Nen. I know they've identified her since then, but this came out earlier this week. And there at the bottom, so it's quoting the incident number. So if you've got any reason to respond to this, if you had information, you call 101, quote the number, or you can reply to the message by clicking on that, and you'll go through a little process there of logging in and then sending the message back. And this has been sent out by PCSO for that area, Matt Taylor. Slight problem there then, as to why we've just gone back to that. Okay. There's another one there. That's a lower priority, just telling us about the beat bus that's going around the Wellingborough area.
We're not getting that at the moment. Well, at least I'm not getting it anyway. I'm just
You're
getting
not.
I'm
What
just
are you?
getting
What,
I'm getting. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're on about the middle one. Sorry, the beat bus. Yeah, sorry.
you
Carry
got
on.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah. Right.
And then the burglary. Yeah. Mm.
Right. And then there's that one to say that's. So there's a second one. So you can see the variety of stuff that they've sent out, gives you the details of the crime they're looking into. Even promoting Crime Stoppers there, if you're aware of that organisation. Various things down there. And again, put out by a local PCSO, reply to this message. Okay. So sign up and login procedure. This is the police website, Northamptonshire Talking. So there's the slides I've been showing you actually taken from that. So you can see, I'll blow that up a little bit. You can see it's a basic thing: first, second, postcode, email address, and terms and conditions. Now I'm going to not go through the detail of that, but I'm going to show you the headings, because that's about 4 pages of that. And if you signed up to a number of things, I don't know, Facebook or something else, you'll find there's terms and conditions. So, but it's fairly straightforward just to initially log on. So terms and conditions, as they've been updated, if you're concerned about who's going to look at your details, etc., then it gives you information in that regard. And it is what I'd call a closed signing up. So although the information providers will be able to see your details, this is not something that's just spread out, into the ether, as it were. So there's various things there that you can look at if you clicked on that terms and conditions to satisfy yourself that, this is kosher and that it's covering what you want to. The only qualification is, and I don't want to be personal here, but it would appear to me that you are over 13 years of age. So that's the only criteria it sets. And it does ask you to state your date of birth, but it's effectively self-certifying that you're over 13. But so data protection's another thing on that, and I'll just cover that in a little bit more detail when I get towards the end of this list of conditions. So you can see, it's quite an involved terms and conditions. They're covering who can see it, who needs it. The whole system is provided by this company, Vis-a-Vis. They're based up in Nottingham. So the Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner pays an annual or a lump sum for the provision of this service from this company. And when we come down to data protection, etc., they are the data controllers and holders of the information that you provide to them. So if you've got any concerns or queries, there's the details for them. You can go straight to them and say what's going on. So that's just covered the basis of what you do through the police website. But I'm going to go into the Neighbourhood Watch one, because it's the same system, although you'll see it's called Neighbourhood Alert. And the points about messages, etc., we'll come to again. So like Keith acknowledged, he's already joined. So you can join as a member, and you'll come onto this website here, and then you'll get that. So in fact, if I'll click on that, we might get magic. So there's the website, join us. And there you go. And you can see that's the National Crime Neighbourhood Watch website. There's quite a bit of information available on that. So we come back to the presentation. So you click on that join us. You click on the sign up here, similar to what you were doing with the Northamptonshire Talking, the police website. And again, here we are with terms and conditions. So the same terms and conditions will come up whichever system you use to join. And you put in your basic details. So you click join, and then you will get a message come through on your email. And this is the important part about it, because what we do find is that a lot of people are sort of signed up to it, but they don't then complete the process. So they don't actually verify that it's their correct email address and correct details. And unless they do that, they just sit in the system as unverified. And half my time is spent trying to chase up on that and sorting out. So again, if I just zoom in, you can see the basic stuff there. You will have received the code. So you just put that in, click on the verify code, and you'll be off. And then you come into this, which is basically where you'd log into. And you then start to complete a bit more of your detail. So your address, and then if you haven't, for any reason it's not there, you click on that, and then you'll get another assistance. So the only thing that I find, and it's probably as relevant across the county, because people are now moving on to new estates, sometimes if they're doing it as soon as they move in, it may not actually be available, but it should be a way around it. So basic details, mobile number, landline number, and there's your date of birth. Again, helps with the verification over 13, and the system will use that potentially to direct you towards more relevant information. And then we were saying about who provides it. So this is a list of possible providers of information. You've got some recommendations here. So it's certainly recommended that you click on those three. That's the national body that will give you updates on fraud issues. That's the National Neighbourhood Watch. That is saying that you want to receive messages from Neighbourhood Watch. And we'll come on in a minute as to whether you actually join a scheme. So it's not making you a Neighbourhood Watch member of a scheme, and the police are there. I would say you sometimes want to consider that one.
I would also say local authority as well.
Well, yeah, the thing is, Joe, I don't know how much use that is made of by the local authority or even trading standards. I mean, the other one there, from a crime prevention point of view, is Get Safe Online. And I'm not sure the fire and rescue, you know, when they're doing their action, their arson action things, whether they use it to any extent. Certainly the three that are recommended there are the primary suppliers of the alert system information. And then, like all systems, you're required to create a password, and you obviously need to remember that so that you can log in again, and it gives you information there about how detailed that should be. And it will click to say that you confirm that, and then you click on that, and that's basically completed your registration. So you would then, whether you did it through the Neighbourhood Watch or through Northamptonshire Talking police website, you'd be registered to receive the alert messages. What Neighbourhood Watch, if you signed in through Neighbourhood Watch, it will then direct you to and encourage you to join your local scheme. So again, if we just zoom in a little bit on that. So it will suggest schemes to you. Now, I'm slightly cautious of this because I've got people signed up, obviously through Neighbourhood Watch, and they've joined every scheme in the town because it probably just plotted all the schemes, which isn't quite what we want them to do. But you know, it doesn't detract from the fact they'll still receive the information. It's just a little bit misleading as to which area they're in. It does encourage you, or suggests here, that if you haven't got a scheme and you're that interested, you could create your own scheme. So if you're living in a street in a town, you could, if you clicked on that, it would then send you into the Neighbourhood Watch website and would give you the option to plot a map with the area that you want your scheme to be. But it's probably not quite what we're about this evening, although if any of you want that information, by all means speak up or contact me afterwards. So that would bring you into the membership area, and Keith has sort of said he's already signed up, so you would get this. So this is what you get if you log back in, having set up your email and your password. You will get this site, and here you can see you can do a lot of editing as to what information there is there. You can put a pretty picture up, make sure your details are correct, or if they change, your phone numbers change, even if your email changes. I mean, that's the obvious statement to make. If your email changes, then you need to change that. I mean, we do get, again, errors in email registration, which is, you know, comes up as a fault. So again, part of my time is trying to contact people. If they haven't left a phone number, we're stuck, because you can't get hold of somebody without their proper email address. So there's a number of categories that you can look at there, and then you can log out if you want from there. So as I say, that's all for you to manage as you see fit. What would happen then is, if you did sign up through the Neighbourhood Watch scheme, you would then start to receive, as it says there, a new member pack, but there are regular newsletters and updates about Neighbourhood Watch and local community initiatives. So if you have joined a scheme, you know, what is it? Well, Neighbourhood Watch is run on a community basis. Members register. Ideally, there's a coordinator for that scheme, so that it's managed, and the coordinator can sort of direct people certain initiatives. What you do in crime prevention and what you do as a member of Neighbourhood Watch is a matter for yourselves, how much time you put in. But there's some examples of sort of stuff that broaden out into the community. You know, whether you see litter picking as a crime prevention, but I always think if you've got a tidy area, it looks as if you care for it. It looks as if you're concerned about your community. So that's the basis of the two ways of signing up to the alert system to receive the messages. That's the extent of the presentation that I wanted to cover with you. But obviously, if you've got anything else to raise or got any queries on that, feel free to speak up.
No, it's enlightened me more, because I mean, I moved from one side of Brackley to the other. We were in when we retired in 17. We were on the west side. Now I'm on the east side. After moving 2 years after we come up here, I'm not too sure. You know, I think I think I know the primary coordinator, but I'm not too sure whether there's just a regional coordinator in the area yet. I've not been as active in retirement up here as I was in the one where we retired from, Little Charlfont down near Amersham. So I was quite active in that because I was a founder member of the scheme there with the what was called a Bell Lane Residents Association in Little Charlfont. And so we were sort of founder members of that scheme, and so we started it up with the Residents Association and got that one off the ground, and so therefore I was a lot more active. Since I've been up here, I've been just sort of like too busy doing other stuff. So, but now that sort of work of doing up the bungalow that we've moved into after a couple of years has now sort of gone by the wayside. I've sort of like finished, and so probably going to try and get a bit more active in that sort of thing as I sort of start coming away slowly over the next couple of years from the 4x4 response work. I probably aim to do it until I was about 70, but I'm not so sure now. But but I'll probably do this another couple of years response work while I've got my first aid at work certificate. But after that, I'll probably start pulling away from it. So probably going to be both with I'm with Northants 4x4 at the moment when I renew my membership, and I'm also with Bucks and Oxen 4x4, being as I'm Brackley is on the boundary, so I get involved with both. I'm a member of Aylesbury Raynet as well, and like Dave Smith, an ex-member of Buck Search and Rescue. But certainly not as involved with the Neighbourhood Watch as much as I used to be, but probably going to start getting more involved with that as I start coming away from the response side of things.
Yeah, well, if you're registered on the system,
Yeah,
you can always log into your membership and just see what it shows you. But if you're not sure, then the simplest thing is to go onto the iWatch website, put in your postcode on the search thing, and it'll show you the area that you're in and if there's a scheme. I know there is a scheme in Brackley because you know, it's quite an active one, but it's for the town. So exactly where you are and exactly how that fits in, I'm not sure. But I mean, have a look at that. But if as a result of that you didn't, by all means, either through Joe or direct, you can come back to me and query, or you can go onto Northamptonshire Neighbourhood website and just issue a thing. But yeah, I mean, have a look and see what you want to do with it. Okay. Right, Alan, you've sort of off.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see in a way the connection between this and the Northamptonshire Emergency Response Corps, which I understood to be sort of like a local resource, and there is a local emergency. This is more about crime prevention, neighbourhood watch, which I understand, but I don't see where the join is between the two.
Well, it's essentially you're right that you know, the Northamptonshire Talking or Neighbourhood Alert is a crime prevention initiative and a community information thing. How it could be used in an emergency is obviously from one assumes from the police, but the fire service could. They could send out updated alerts by email to keep you informed on that, just as much as they would by a radio message or whatever. So the system is there and could be used in an emergency to update people or get responses to it. But I accept it's primarily aimed at the crime prevention side of community.
Yeah, well, I presume that the NERC has a system in place to contact people when they want them, whatever emergency might be in place, and messaging would be done through that, wouldn't it? I mean, maybe you can answer, but
yeah, Joe can answer that. But I mean, there's no reason why NERC couldn't simply turn either to myself from the Neighbourhood Watch point of view or the police and say, we need to get this message out here. Can you do it by alert system? And that's how it would come out. But you know, just as much as, you know, it's a query, you could have an SMS message. So it's another tool in the box, basically, for that. But I accept, Alan, that it's not the bee's knees for emergency response, but it would be there if needed.
Yeah. I can add a bit to that. So for our NERC volunteers, we are trying to come up with a sort of an alerting system so we can call everybody rather than just, because at the moment you just get emails. We've got your phone number, so if there's an incident in your area, we would ring you. But again, we want to have an alerting system that we could notify everyone and people can then come forward. So the NERC trustees are looking at that at the moment.
Well, you probably understand that and probably know that the responders that are there, such as 4x4 response and search and rescue, use the system ARM.
That's the sort of one we're going to look at.
Yeah.
Does that have a cost, Joe?
It does, yeah. Unfortunately.
Whereas what Andrew Crisp is suggesting, there's no cost. And I'm fully aware that Northants County Council is not particularly solvent.
It's not a county council anymore.
Yeah, we haven't got Northampton County Council
along
anymore.
with Lot. So, I mean, to be quite honest, with the state of the world at the moment, I'm all for having use of a system that currently exists.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And
you know,
NERC is a separate charity as well. So we have NERC trustees have got their own money to sort of spend on the volunteers, and it's separate from West and North Northants councils. But if there's a way that we can do it that it's free, then we'll look at that. But the trustees are looking at everything at the moment to see what one suits us best.
Which to my mind, I've always got the philosophy of use something you've got rather than try and use something that doesn't exist. So with Andrew Crisp's idea of you can have direct contact from the police or the fire rather than going round the houses, which regrettably I've been involved in with various incidents where the people on the ground are the last to know when they've got the information at first hand. And it is frustrating, to say the least, that when you're there waiting for someone to make a decision, when you know that you just need the information passed on via the quickest route, which, from what Andy's suggesting, is that the Neighbourhood Watch alert system is possibly going to be the most direct and quickest, because if the police and the fire have got something that they need help with, they can put it out on a system that already exists, and that NERC members have just got to be aware to monitor that system that already exists.
Yeah, no, that's good. And through COVID, we put out some messages through Neighbourhood Alert at the time it was Neighbourhood Alert. So we put that out there. But I suppose it can we pinpoint the NERC reserves other than everybody within Neighbourhood Watch. If we had a generic message that we wanted to send to everybody, that's fine, or pinpoint areas. But it's information that we might want to just give to NERC reserves.
Okay, so why are we not considering then the WhatsApp messaging system, which certainly worked when I was doing the...
Sorry, which system was that? Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, the WhatsApp system, which certainly worked when I was working alongside Paul Hebborn when I was a member of BRC at Northamptonshire, doing that. Because
WhatsApp's brilliant, and that is the easiest way, but we do need to get everyone's consent. So the 110 volunteers we have, it's a matter of writing to them and saying, are you okay to be on this WhatsApp group? Because it's going to be a massive WhatsApp group to have.
Yes, and as long as it's police, so that people, unfortunately, along with any social media, it can get silly. So it needs to be very strictly controlled.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Messages flying around and people being dinged at 3 o'clock in the morning with here's my coffee outside Costa Coffee when I'm
I think if I just cut in for a second there, what's been raised there about using the alert system, it's quite likely, Joe, if there was the interest in it and the serious take-up, that you could have a group for NERC on the alert system, and that'd be similar to what you've got with parish council, because the parish council have got a post that they call the police liaison role. So a member of a parish council is signed up on the alert system as a PLR, and the police can tick a box just to send it to PLR. So you could tick a box to send it to NERC.
Okay, that's a real good option then, Andy. I think we need to progress that.
Well, that's something we perhaps need to talk offline, but I know that's the system, just an example in the county. So going on from